Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be reviewing the main modern extending kitchen table. Let's dive in and discover all its details. The main table is available in three different sizes. We have the 120 by 80, which is the standard, let's say, for a compact kitchen. We have the 140 by 90, and we have the 160 by 90, which is this one. The opening system is very easy. I simply slightly pull towards me and simply pull out the mechanism. This sort of mechanism is pretty convenient in the sense that every person who is sitting at the table does not have legs which would hinder the ergonomics of sitting at the table. So I can have, let's say, on this 160 table, I can have 8 people sitting around the table. And once we have opened it, we can appreciate the metal structure with its peculiar triangular legs, which are a nice detail. Of course, we can perceive it we don't normally perceive it from above. Normally, we do perceive its shape in relation to the structure that we see here and to the tabletop. Now we go on opening it. We can say that the 120 has a 50 centimeters extension. Okay. The 140 has two alternatives. You can have a single 60 centimeters extension, or you can also have a version with two separate extensions with 45 centimeters each. So I could, from 140, I could go up to 185 or to 230. And in this version, we have the 160, which has a single 50 centimeters extension, just like the 120. So the 120 goes up to 170. The 140 can either go up to 2 meters with a single extension, or 185, 230, and the 160 can go up to 2 meters and 10. Now that I've opened it, I simply push back and I have my extended table. The main kitchen table does shine when we think about materials. Let's talk about the tabletop. We can have it in melamine, we can have it in multiple melamines, we can have it in HPL, or it does shine when we talk about glass, because we can have painted glass, which is this one. We can have frosted painted glass with a more matte look, and I can tell you I have it in my kitchen, not this table, but this material I have it in my kitchen. It's very, very practical. Frosted glass, especially on light colors, it's very practical for cleaning, it's very hygienic. I would say it's impossible to scratch it, and even if you could create very, very tiny scratches, you don't perceive them on the surface, and so I can only suggest this choice for a practical kitchen table or for an open space, in any case for daily use. Also we have ceramic glass. Ceramic glass is a rather peculiar material, because normally you find ceramics with a few millimeters, like 5-6 millimeter ceramics, supported underneath by glass. In the case of the main table, the ceramic glass is rather different, because it's actually glass. It's completely 10-12 millimeters of glass, which is then covered with a ceramic layer on the top, a very thin ceramic layer on top, and it creates a nice textured effect, and it's also very, very practical. What is peculiar is not only the number of types of materials that I can have, but the fact that I have more than 20 standard colors to choose from, and then I can also have a RAL color. So I can customize completely the color I choose, based on not only on what I like, but also on the combinations that I'm going to have in my room. For example, here we see this tabletop is the same exact RAL color of the back panel, of the glass back panel of this kitchen. So, well, this is a cream color. It could be considered as being basic, nothing special, one could say, one could argue. But for example, this sort of touches, this sort of details is what makes a table which has a standard I would say, neutral design. It's quite normal. It's not anything groundbreaking in terms of design. It's the color customization which makes it special. This sort of color customization, we can have it also on the metal structure, on the legs. Just let me check in detail. Okay, I was not remembering the number of colors. We have 15 standard colors for the metal legs, for the metal structures, and so here we see this metal structure has been painted not with one of the 15 standard colors, but with a RAL color, which matches the color of the lacquer of the kitchen. So here we have a setting where the table perfectly matches the surroundings. The extensions are available in multiple finishes as well. We have white white laminate, hemp laminate, graphite gray laminate, and we can also have lacquer extensions, and these lacquered extensions would be colored with the same RAL color, for example, that you choose for the glass top or for the structure. When you think about the extensions for extending tables, you must take into consideration that my suggestions is to go for practical materials. Of course, a lacquered extension is nice. I could have a red glass tabletop, and I could have with the same RAL red lacquered extensions, but I must take into consideration that the red which I lacquer underneath the glass and the red which is directly lacquered on top of the MDF extensions will not result identical in terms of perception. So the same paint will result differently when it's lacquered underneath the glass or on top of an MDF panel. And also, so this is something to expect when you choose a RAL colored extension. And also, I must take into consideration that when normally, you're not bound to it, but normally when you extend a table, you normally cover it. It's because you have guests. And when you have guests, you normally cover the table with a tablecloth. And so the tablecloth itself does change the appearance, the look of the table itself. So just like I'm very excited about customization for a table or for any other furniture product, in terms of the extensions, I simply suggest a very basic finish and a very practical finish. This is what I suggest. So we've come to the end of today's product review about the main modern extending kitchen table. I hope that you liked it, and see you next time. Ciao!